Beautiful Las Vegas. Welcome to the Eddie Hughes Show.
It's the Eddie Hughes Show. Whoa, whoa. It's the Eddie Hughes Show.
It's the Eddie Hughes Show.
Eddie Hughes Show.
The Eddie Hughes Show. Eddie Hughes Show.
It's the Eddie Hughes Show.
The Eddie Hughes Show. Eddie Hughes
Tune in.
Yo. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Eddie Fuse Show. I'm your host, Eddie Fuse, and we have my special guest today, Verse Spencer.
Thank you for having me, sir.
Glad you're here, man. How you doing, man? On this hot day in Vegas.
Hey, man, it's only hot. The cast, it ain't that cool.
I can dig that. So, Verse, man, what brings you in today?
Well, what brings me in today is to obviously kick it with you and to promote my book, Maybe Life is a Test.
Maybe Life is a Test.
Yes, sir.
Now, the author name is SONNY Snaps.
Yeah.
Would you happen to know who SONNY Snaps is?
So if you fuck with Sonny Snaps, you dig what I'm saying?
All right, man. So, you designed this cover too?
Absolutely.
And can we talk about the design that's on the cover?
All
Let
right.
the world see the design. It's beautiful, man. It's
Black,
handcrafted.
white, and red.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
All right. Well, for starters, on the cover of the book is my son, Pharaoh Leon Spencer, short for Ferocious Leonidas. That's his name.
I like that.
Well, thank you. Obviously, he's sitting on, one of my stepmother's laps.
Mm-hmm.
And, he was a little baby balling up his fist angry. I just figured that's my life story, too.
Yeah.
So, basically, most of this life is about the trials of a family within a modern urban setting.
In the modern urban setting.
The crack epidemic, Washington, D.C.
I could dig that. Now let's talk about this this book, man. Now, how long have you been working on this particular project?
Well, actually, that book I put together in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Wow.
Did it when I was 22.
You was 22?
I never touched it because there was so much pain in my life. And when I got older, like about, when my son was born, I really just said, you know what, I'm going to put it out. I'm going to go ahead and put most of this behind me.
So this was like, basically, this is like a time capsule then.
Yes, up to age 22. 21 years in verses, what it says on the cover.
Wow. That's amazing, man. That's amazing. To even know that you're such a lot of people don't know that you're even a live MC too, you know what I'm saying? And for me to even know you on that side of the fence and then catch you in this light, it's just so amazing, man. For real, man. I'm glad that you came here to grace me with this beautiful masterpiece that you put together, man.
It's my honor.
For real, man. You're a very, very, very influential person. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you, sir.
Ever since I've known you, you've been a light with me. You know what I mean? And we talking Luna Lounge like 5 years ago.
Yes, sir.
We talking live bands, jazz, and all that.
Yes,
you know what I'm
sir.
saying? You was one of the first people that helped me break my career out here. I started off in the Luna Lounge with you.
Yes, sir, that's true. It's an honor. You did a great platform for the city, and everybody must know Eddie Fuse is a pioneer.
I
It is a fact.
appreciate that, man. I appreciate that, man. And it's so crazy, man, Verse, because it's like I'm a fan of you. I'm a fan of you, man. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not ashamed to say that, because once you hear this man speak and hear his lyricism, you'll be a fan too. Absolutely.
Thank you, sir.
You know what I'm saying? But maybe life is a test, right?
Touche.
All right, I'm gonna jump into some of the contents, man, on this book, man. You mind sharing just a little bit with me, a little information?
All right, well, basically, the book starts out in Panama.
Okay.
That's when my family originally broke up in Panama.
Mm-hmm.
My father was there on a military mission. My mother, basically, from that side of life, basically was telling me a story about what happened in order to get us back. So the first part of the book was basically narrated from my mother's perspective, even though it was in my words, But then when I was 6 years old, I got hit by a car. Survived a traumatic brain injury.
Wow.
I had to learn how to walk again, talk again, hold a fork and hold a spoon. I was paralyzed to the right side, had to have a neck cast and everything. There's pictures of me and they're in it.
Wow.
So basically what happened was, since I got hit by a car in Virginia, I didn't get hit in Panama. We actually came back to America and I got hit by a car. Basically the Board of Education from that standpoint was like, okay, well, this black boy is a throwaway.
Right.
So for lack of a better term, moving up into the DC area, just went through the trials and tribulations, you know, of having someone like Marion Barry as the mayor of our city, and you know, that sort of things. They put me in a category where I was considered special needs, but I was still going through all of the trials and tribulations of what was the murder capital of the city at that time. You know, DC was terrible.
Yeah.
So, from that standpoint, I had to go to this school called Lab School of Washington. I was one of the first children to ever put on Ritalin and Prozac or Zoloft.
Wow.
So, from that standpoint, I just started writing and keeping journals, and that book is basically a collage of those journals leading all the way up to when I was 21, 22 years old, winning rapping competitions across the country.
Man, wow.
And it's also a case study on brain injury, because no one who suffered a brain injury wrote a book about going through the treatments.
Okay.
It's hard to come back when you're in that thing, you know, because you're in. No one could explain what happens when you're trapped inside of your brain.
That's an out of body experience. Cause if you ain't been there, you ain't ever gonna know what it's about.
Absolutely.
I'm looking inside your book, man, on your table of contents, the Newsflash.
Yeah.
Give me some insight on the Newsflash.
Newsflash. I hope you recognize it's a hoax, because they lie in the Times like they lie in the Post.
You're a deep brother, man. You're a deep brother, man. Wow.
Well, when I wrote Newsflash, it was around the time that 9/11 hit. I was actually leaving Las Vegas, flying back to Washington, D.C. You know, the first metro stop, you know, because I didn't have no car back then. First metro stop was actually the Pentagon. So I flew back the day before, was sitting there, open up TV, you know, I'm getting phone calls, and they like, man, America's under attack. I'm like, man, bullshit. Okay. America ain't under attack. What the hell y'all talking about?
Man,
you know what I'm saying?
Attack.
Dude, right. So you know what I'm saying? I turn on the television, and I'm seeing World Trade Center. I'm seeing New York. I'm like, oh, that's them.
That's that.
I'm like, oh, man, whatever.
You know, that's that city love. That's that rivalry city love.
Right, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, that's in New York. You know what I'm saying?
Whatever.
Whatever.
Man, that ain't
You know what I'm saying?
I ain't watching it.
Right, but when, you know what I'm saying, I was seeing all the traffic when I got in the car, and I couldn't go nowhere, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, me, I'm spoiled. I'm like, damn, I'm like, where the hell's all this traffic from? You know what I'm saying? And then I actually see the Pentagon with the big hole in it, you dig what I'm saying?
Wow.
Smoldering, smoking fire. And I got a phone call from my mother that actually works on Capitol Hill, worked at the time, and she was like, you know, they had to rush us out of their Capitol building, and, you know, all the congressional staffers, you know what I'm saying? So it was like, it was a surreal experience, and, you know, I just captured my perspective of it in the book that I was going through at the time in the eyes of a 21-year-old man.
And that was a Newsflash.
Touche, because it was 2011. I was born in 1980.
Absolutely. I could dig it, man. I could dig it. So, Verse, man,
But 2001.
as far as, like, right now, with your book, what would you say your age range of people you're trying to influence right now with your message? You know what I'm saying? Like,
anybody that can read the covers.
Everybody.
Dude, if you got a life and you done had a test, then this book is for you.
Absolutely. Make sure y'all get with me, man. Get with me, man. I'll make sure I get y'all some copies, man, whenever Verse drop this.
Oh, it's dropped on Amazon right now. As a matter of fact, you can highlight, and the good thing about the book on Amazon is the ebook is set up where you could actually highlight, and you can hit the highlights and the links and the titles for each of the things, and it wraps back to you on videos I recorded on YouTube.
Man. That's real
so it's,
cool.
well, thank you, sir. So it's really, you know, an interactive exchange of collaboration of a viewpoint, so that you don't necessarily have to be able to read it.
It's the learning for dummies, man. You know, if you don't want to read a book, press play and it'll talk to you.
Man, you know, you can get the gist of most of it, you know.
Yeah.
So it's an honor. It's one of those things I put out because my god brother, who was like my brother, got killed, and my mother basically told me to write how I felt and write, you know, my life story, because it was such an epic. I know people will be like, how can a 22-year-old young man have 300 pages worth of life to live and never repeat a word?
You've seen a lot.
Man.
Seen a lot. I'm gonna go into one more, man. Just one more. I'm gonna give him one more. Let's talk about illusions.
Illusions?
Yeah, illusions. I like that.
Man. Illusions is basically my perspective of the paradigm that people are in. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's delusional. You know, but instead of saying delusion, which is, you know, taking away from something, as the root word of D-E, I say illusions because it's an illness that everybody has.
Mm.
So
You better speak.
yes, sir. So like for most of this book, it unlocks the keys of ailments that are going on in people to make sure that we can be whole as one human community, no matter what your age or color, or gender for that matter.
Wow. You know what? Verse, I always knew you was on that level. You ain't gotta tell me. You ain't gotta tell me.
Hey man, it's
Look.
the city I'm from, Washington D.C. God bless, and it's the city I'm at, Las Vegas, which gives me the platform and opportunity.
Man, maybe life is a test, man. I'm gonna make sure you gave me a copy. I got my copy. Get yours. I got mine.
Maybe
You know what I'm saying?
lifeistest.com, and you could also find it on Amazon. It is bomb.
Hit the people with your social medias real quick.
Oh man, social media, Verse Spencer, Facebook, Verse Legend 202, Legend's what they call me back home, on Twitter, Verse Legend on Instagram. I don't know, y'all other than that, just, I don't know you, you don't know me, though.
Well, look, man, I appreciate you coming in today, man, and chopping up with me on the Eddie Fuse Show, man. It's always a blessing to see you, brother.
Hey man, the pleasure's mine, bro.
For real, man. We were supposed to do this a long time ago, man, but to finally get down to it and sit down and get it done, man, it feels good. Hopefully you'll come back and ride with me again.
I will, sir.
Absolutely, man. This is the Eddie Fuse Show. Yeah.
Beautiful Las Vegas. Welcome to the Eddie Hughes Show.
It's the Eddie Fuse Show.
This is the Eddie Fuse exclusive. An excerpt from Maybe Life is a Test that I call Courage. You can watch Eddie Fuse to see how the book will hit you when you actually read it and hear it. Suicide crosses my mind all the time, at least once an hour. Just living on to prove I'm not a coward. My heart is thirsty for power, and every time I can't touch it, I feel disgusted. Or often feel my will saying, fuck it. A wise man told me that embrace of power leaves one corrupted. The greatest form of gluttony, affecting more than your stomach. The world's perverted, so my mind's destructive. And if I ever loved a single thing, I never touched it. And when I'm thinking of the fact we're hunted, it makes me wonder. I'm sick of running. If I go under, then I go down gunning. I tell no jokes when I say I see the reaper coming, life's a struggle. And to the day I'm coughing blood bubbles and puddles. Psychologists are often puzzled, cause I don't let them in my dome. I was born alone, so leave me alone. I hold my own, think it's the skin on my bones. It's called courageous. My goals are quite outrageous, listen close, it's quite contagious. Cause courage is the mastery of fear, not the absence. Cowards may think they're brave cause they could do courageous actions. But courage is more than what you're doing in the present. Courage is a state of mind that is taught by many lessons. Courage is the mastery of fear, not the absence. Cowards may think they're brave because they could do courageous actions, but courage is more than what you're doing in the present. Courage is a way of mind that is taught by many lessons. Why do I feel more powerful tearing people apart than when I'm winning their heart? What's the difference between light and the dark when all I envision is red because hatred gives me that spark? Does that mean I'm going to hell where hell was all I was taught? An angel brought me to the spring of life. She told me not to drink it. But I was thirsty to the point that I had problems breathing. And when that angel didn't give a reason, I took a swig, and then I realized that very angel was a demon, keeping me in bondage. I thought that life was all that we were promised. It really makes you wonder who the God is. The truth ain't something that was learned in college. The truth was once on earth but got demolished. And to the master, truth would sound like nonsense. They got their brains harnessed in this mental enslavement, this spiritual matrix. They tell you life is what you make it. What they forgot to say is what you learn you'll hit the grave with. Then you'll be face to face with the maker who created the very spring that the demon forbade it. And many would see eternal death because they weren't courageous. They'll probably blame it on their lack of language. Know what I'm saying? It's deep. You gotta have the will to go above and the strength to go beneath, because courage is the mastery of fear, not the absence. Cowards may think they're brave because they could do courageous actions, but courage is more than what you're doing in the present. Courage is a state of mind that is taught by many lessons.
Damn.
Not everyone's courageous. You got the people living for the minute. You got the people who are losers, hate to see you winning. You got the people love to keep you sinning. You got the people that you hate so much you want to end them. You got the people who see the same scene to keep you chinning that the devil's work doesn't bear any resemblance. They're cool sometimes, but deep inside you know they're not on your side. They'd rather take it easy because they think that life is a ride. You got the people who are senseless extremists that are just as bad as non-believers. The type to watch why they crucified Jesus. Ooh. I'm telling you now, you better be down, so-called leaders. If not, we must elect the baby Caesar. How long must these cops be able to beat us while you feed us all these reasons why it's important to learn what the fuck they're teaching? All the children, well, you know that they'll mislead them if they're reaching their brain. You take a child to a psychiatrist, just leave them insane. We're traumatized, our fathers lying to grave, a lie trying to get paid, a lie trying to stay paid, denying children they made. Y'all believe you're brave for living in a time when you were forced to the back of the line like we should overcome. Holding picket signs, cause white refuse to use the same bathroom as mine.
After the rise, staying still to love a crime, genocide by design. But now you're trying to forget the very things the elders should teach. The memories are like broken arms and it hurts you to reach. Meanwhile, your child is learning bullshit inside of a school that during your childhood, you couldn't even go to. You know what I define as cowardice? When you know the truth, but fear has got you powerless. Woo! My Lord. Show more fortitude and gratitude inside your attitude. Being courageous is contagious if you're scared to master you. Show more fortitude and gratitude inside your attitude. Being courageous is contagious if you're scared to master you. Because courage is the mastery of fear. It's not the absence. And cowards may think they're brave because they could do courageous actions. But courage is more than what you're doing in the present. Courage is a way of life. And it's taught by many lessons. May your life as it says.
That was the science, God. Peace, God. Peace, God.